every Sunday, millions of Christians gather together in churches. Most assume that meeting on Sunday is based upon something in the Bible. And some Christian denominations consider Sunday to be the Sabbath. In any event, is there actually a biblical reason for keeping Sunday as a special day? After all, wasn't it the first day of the week on which Jesus was brought back to life? To see if there's a biblical mandate to keep Sunday as a special day, let's look a little closer. Firstly, to address those who think that Sunday is to be kept as a Sabbath, actually the Bible says that the Sabbath is the seventh day of the week. This is why in the Bible, Sunday is referred to as the first day of the week, because it is the day that begins a new week, while the Sabbath is the seventh and last day of the week. So Sunday is not the Sabbath, and there's no biblical justification for keeping it as a Sabbath. But perhaps there's a biblical reason for keeping Sunday as a sort of celebration day, or the primary day on which believers gather. The easiest way to find out what the Bible teaches about Sunday is to simply examine all 8 times the phrase first day of the week is mentioned. The first 5 references to the first day of the week all refer to the same thing, the fact that Jesus was resurrected by the morning of the first day of the week that week. Those references are Matthew 28:1, Mark 16:2, Mark 16:9, Luke 24:1, and John chapter 20 verse 1. Later, in John chapter 20 verse 19, there is a reference to Jesus appearing to the apostles in a closed room. This occurred late in the day on a Sunday. The 7th reference to the first day of the week is in Acts chapter 20 verse 7, which says, "On the first day of the week, when we were gathered together to break bread, Paul began talking to them, intending to leave the next day, and he prolonged his message until midnight." Most people assume that this is a reference to a Sunday morning gathering. But if that's the case, this verse would be telling us that Paul spoke from Sunday morning to midnight that night. However, from a biblical and Jewish perspective, days begin in the evening. So this could be a reference to Saturday night, Motzei Shabbat, a common time in Jewish tradition to gather. If that's the case, then Paul's preaching until midnight is still a long time, but it's not the ridiculous notion that he preached for more than 12 hours. Either way, even if this was a reference to Sunday morning, there's nothing in the text that states that Sunday should from then on be observed as a special day or a day to gather together. The last reference to the first day of the week in the Apostolic Scriptures is 1 Corinthians 16 verse 2. It says, "On the first day of every week, each one of you is to put aside and save, as he may prosper, so that no collections be made when I come." If you compare this to 2 Corinthians 8 and 9 and other places, we learn that Paul gathered money from each of his congregations and brought a gift to the Jewish assembly in Jerusalem on behalf of the Gentile believers. So here in 1 Corinthians 16:2, Paul instructed the Corinthians to set aside money for this purpose on the first day of every week. There's no mention of meeting on Sunday, nor is there a reference here to giving money to your local assembly. So there is no instruction in the entire Bible to meet on Sunday or consider Sunday to be a special day. Instead, we have clear evidence of Jesus and the apostles keeping the Sabbath on the 7th day, what we call Saturday. Read through the Gospels and the book of Acts. The consistent pattern we see is that the Sabbath is still in place, and in fact, it is the primary day on which believers gathered. Now, there's nothing wrong with believers gathering together on Sunday or any other day of the week, but the fact is that observing Sunday as a special day or the primary day to meet is a tradition. And all too often, Sunday observance is chosen over Sabbath observance. Traditions are fine, but only if they do not impede you from keeping God's commandments. In Mark 7 verse 8, Jesus himself chastised the Pharisees for neglecting the commandment of God and instead holding to the traditions of men. So let's make sure that we are not guilty of this as well.